Welcome to our monthly Q&A. I am your host, thee3nd, and I will be answering your thought-provoking questions. But before we do, a couple of announcements. First announcement is that I am hard at work on part 2 of that Philips CDI review, and I'll get it done sometime this year. And in other news, Grand Theft Auto 4 is coming out on the 29th, so we'll most likely be interrupting the whole 7-part series to review GTA 4 for the Xbox 360.
Shpared asks, what do you think of Super Smash Bros. Brawl?
Sad truth is, I haven't played it yet. Nah, seriously, I haven't played a fighting game since Mortal Kombat 4. Never played Super Smash Bros., any Super Smash Bros. Game for that matter, and it really hasn't been a priority to try this game out. But I will try it out eventually sometime. From what I've seen, it has a really good soundtrack, and my brother plays it a lot, so if he's playing it a lot, it must be good.
GameSheriff asks, in your opinion, which type of shooter game is better? First person or third person? And why?
First person or third person? That is the question. For me, the answer is, how do you define a third-person shooter? You see, and the reason why I mention this is because first-person shooters are a strict genre. Something's a first-person shooter, and that's typically it. They usually don't transcend other genres. The only exception I can think of would be BioShock, which is arguably a survival horror, and not even that is universally accepted as a survival horror. Third-person shooter, on the other hand, you can use a more loose definition. Now, you can use a strict definition, which would include games like Max Payne or Gears of War or Duke Nukem Time to Kill for the PSX. And then there are other games that wouldn't really be considered a third-person shooter, but have third-person shooter elements in them. And give you an example. See, here we have a couple of games. We have Mass Effect and Resident Evil 4 that have a heavy third-person shooter component. But they can be classed in other genres as well. And then if you want to stretch it out even further, we have games like Oni for the PS2 or GTA, which have third-person shooting elements in them, but they have a lot more going on for it. Like Oni has a good hand-to-hand combat system, and then GTA, you drive around cars, you do lots of other stuff beyond just shooting. If you want to stretch it out even further, you could, if you really wanted to, consider Devil May Cry 4 a third-person shooter. However, if you're playing this as a third-person shooter, then you're a fucking idiot. So it really all depends. You want to use a strict definition, or do you want to use a more loose definition? And if you use a more loose definition, then I'd have to go with third-person shooters because there's more variety, more going on for it. If you want to use a strict definition, then it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, a good game is a good game. I mean, you shoot stuff, first-person, third-person, really doesn't matter to me, to be honest. But I love my first-person shooters.
Little Green Gamer asks, do you think that all licensed games based on movies and TV shows are lame? Or are there any that you particularly like?
For the most part, licensed games are horrible. I mean, there's a general consensus within the gaming community that most licensed games are shitty. And that goes for movies as well. Movies based off video games generally suck. However, there are a few exceptions. And the first exception would be Terminator for the Sega CD. It's a game that I like. Also, there was Terminator 2 in the arcade. It was a rail shooter where you take the plasma rifle and you're like blasting Terminators all over the place. And then I remember Batman for the NES. I remember playing that as a kid and liking it. Now, I haven't played it recently, so I'd have to go back and actually play it again. But from what I've heard, the game has aged well, and it's still considered one of those few licensed games on the NES that didn't suck.
harrisonhedges asks, what is your worst video game console?
That'll be this piece of heaven, the Philips CDI.
Equinox Fan 82 asks, have you ever broken anything out of frustration over a video game? If so, what was it?
Actually, no. I have never broken something out of frustration.
Frinson 1985 asks, I'm a big fan of racing games. Do you like racing games too?
Actually, no, I'm not a real big fan of racing games. It's a genre that I'm pretty much indifferent to. Now, I played Rad Racer on the NES, I played Mario Kart on the Super NES, and then on the PSX I played Need for Speed 1 and Gran Turismo 1. And then of course there was Mario Kart 64 on the N64. And then after that, I pretty much stopped playing racing games. So no, I'm not a big fan of racing games. I really don't care for them.
Duke Nukem 3DO asks, what is your opinion on Chadwardenn?
Wow, I didn't know people were still talking about him. It's been a year since he made those videos just dissing on the Wii and the Xbox 360. I mean, I never took it seriously. I thought it was some kind of ruse, a joke. Maybe he's some kind of attention whore, a troll. But I didn't think he was being serious. I didn't think it was real.
LazyWorkCreations, also known as WizWar100, asks, do you think Nintendo should have more online play with their games that are either co-op or multiplayer? For example, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles.
To be honest, I really don't see much potential on the Wii for online gaming. It's not really geared towards online gaming. Now, Super Smash Bros. Has online gaming. That's a given. That might work for something like Mario Party 8, but for Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, no, I don't think so. I don't think the game is popular enough to support that kind of thing. And I really don't think many people would really be interested in going online to play with somebody on Umbrella Chronicles. It's mainly a solo game in my view. So overall, no, I don't see much potential.
Dropkick82 asks, I heard that you like Simon's Quest. What do you think of the AVGN's review of Simon's Quest?
How dare he insult Simon's Quest? This is ultimate ownage. That review ain't bowling. That review was a shitload of... How you gonna diss on Simon's Quest? Actually, I thought that review was fucking funny. It was the second review that I watched from what was then the Angry Nintendo Nerd, and I just thought it was hilarious. And I thought that he made some good points, the whole thing with the box popping up in the air during the day and night transitions. I thought that was a valid point. I can see why that would annoy someone. It personally doesn't annoy me, but I can see where he's coming from. And the whole point about everything being so cryptic and hidden, like, that tornado thing, yeah, I think that has a lot of merit. Somehow when I was a kid I figured it out. Another thing that I gotta point out is that, it's not serious. It's okay if you bash something that I like. I don't care. Have fun with it. I'm not gonna take it seriously. And really, that review, it's a joke. Yeah, some of his points were kind of dumb, like, dying when you fall in the water. I mean, there are a lot of games that are like that, including the first and third Castlevania. It's a joke. And James Rolfe himself has gone on record saying that he likes Simon's Quest. And really, to sum up my position on the game, watch Joman47's review. He hits everything right on the head. Exactly. So that's pretty much what I think about the Angry Video Game Nerds review. It's not serious, just enjoy it for what it is, and don't worry about it.